Hi, it's Pastor Paul L. Anderson here at the Fountain of Raleigh Fellowship, where we believe God's blessings never stop flowing. It's Satisfaction Saturday. We're just so satisfied that this morning we have something very special to present to you. Normally, I give you my morning devotional, but on this day, because it's so special, it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and I asked one of our very own parishioners, Dr. Trina Prather, to present to us. Dr. Prather is a medical doctor. She's very well versed in this area. So I present to you Dr. Trina Prather.
Good day. I'm here to talk a little bit about breast cancer, as it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and so I'm so excited to just have a conversation about that. We'll start with just an overview about breast cancer. So basically, we'll be talking about who gets breast cancer, what to look for, how it's diagnosed, how it's treated, and what's on the horizon. That is like what is coming in the upcoming clinical trials and what's promising in the treatments of breast cancer. So let's look at who gets breast cancer. So both women and men get breast cancer, and breast cancer is actually the second most common cancer that women get. And unfortunately, African American women die from breast cancer 30 times more, a percentage more than other women, and that's really a sobering fact. So yes, men do get breast cancer, and this year, 2021, it is expected that 2,650 men will actually be diagnosed with breast cancer. And of that, 530 of them will actually die from it. And again, another sobering fact is that African American men get the breast cancer overall more often than any other men. And they actually get it almost 2 per 100,000 versus Caucasians would get it at 1.3 per 100,000. Asians get it 1.3. Asians get it 1.0, and Hispanics get it 0.6 per 100,000. So, again, we have these sobering facts about breast cancer in the African American community. So what are the risk factors that predisposes people to get breast cancer? So the first one is age. You usually don't get breast cancer before age 50. And most commonly, you get it at age 55. The next one is genetics. So if you happen to have the genetic change where you have the BRCA, also noted to be BRCA1, BRCA2, that also is a huge risk factor. Your reproductive history is also a risk factor, and that is pretty much looks at when you start to have your menstrual cycle. So if you began your menstrual cycle before age 12, that's a risk factor, and also if you started your menopause after age 55, that is also a risk factor. And then previous history of breast cancer, obviously is a risk factor, because if you've had it before, it can always come back, or if you've had it on one side, you can get it on the other side. Family history, if you have a first-degree relative, so if your mother had it, your aunt or uncle or grandmother have had it, you're at risk. And previous diagnosis or radiation before age 30 will put you at risk as well. So if you had another cancer like lymphoma or thyroid cancer that required you to have radiation, you, again, are put at risk. And lastly, if you have been treated with the medication diastrol, which is also noted to be DS, which was given to women between the years of 1940 to 1971 for miscarriages, you would also be at increased risk for that. Okay, so it's not all bad, because there are some things you can do to decrease your risk factor. And so you want to do those things and help yourself not be at risk for that, because there are some things, like I said, we can control. So the first one is to make sure your weight is within normal range, and that is to try to keep your body weight and the BMI, or the body mass index, below 25, because above that is obesity, and you don't want to have that. And then the other thing is to exercise. It's recommended that you exercise for 30 minutes, at least 5 times a week, and just basically walking for 30 minutes is adequate. So you don't have to go to the gym and do all kinds of, heavy exercising, running on a treadmill, or, a stair step or anything like that, but just basic walking. In addition, if you are on any kind of hormone replacement, postmenopausal, or even just oral contraception, you want to talk to your doctor about that and ask them if there's other treatment plans or formulations of the hormone treatment that you could be on, so that you're not increasing your risk for breast cancer. And then if you are of childbearing age and you do have children, if you're able to breastfeed, it is highly recommended that you do, because that alone also can decrease your risk. And then in addition, family history. So if you unfortunately have inherited that BRCA or that BRCA1 or 2 gene, talk to your healthcare provider about what you can do regarding that, so that you can reduce your risk, because there are some things they can tell you about that you can do. So some of them are pretty drastic, like getting a mastectomy so you don't get breast cancer, will help you to reduce those factors. So you're not just sitting duck when it comes to risk factors in breast cancer. There are things you can take control. Okay, so, all right, so we know what breast cancer is. We know, the risk factors, but how do you kind of be vigilant about it and kind of look for it? So basically, the first thing is, you've all been told that you should do monthly breast exams in the shower. And that's good. So basically, you should be looking at your breasts, looking at the size, the shape, appearance of it. And so if you see any redness or just dimpling or anything on the breasts, that should kind of alarm you. And you would definitely want to bring that to the attention of your primary care provider. And then you want to also look for any swelling underneath your armpits, and you're just looking for any swelling of your lymph nodes, some tenderness, and then you also want to look at the nipples, if you have any nipple discharge, any nipple dimpling and or inversion. And the nipple inversion is actually important, because that is one of the signs that men actually get when they develop breast cancer. And so it's pretty, obvious change. And so if you see any of those changes, you do want to, like I said, go and talk to your primary care physician and get some attention and figure out if these changes are significant and whether or not you do have breast cancer. All right, so how is breast cancer diagnosed? So we have the incredible, helpful screening test called mammography, so mammograms. Mammograms or x-rays, they're great. You should get them every 1 to 2 years, depending on your age and circumstances. You should start getting them at age 50. However, you might want to start getting them earlier, depending on your history. If you have a family history of a first-degree relative, that is a mother that's had it, a sibling, a sister or aunt, any of those, you should start getting mammograms at age 40. Otherwise, it is not recommended that women between the age range of 40 to 49 get mammograms, because the breast tissue is too dense, and you will not be able to pick up any abnormalities for breast cancer. So the general population is recommended to get breast mammography done between the age of 50 to 74 every 1 or 2 years. So what happens after age 74? Well, that decision to continue to have breast mammography is pretty much left up to you and your healthcare team. And there's some factors that you have to put into place regarding whether or not you should get those mammograms done every 1 to 2 years based on your general health. So if you're healthy, you have a great quality of life, and you feel like you can, you have at least another 10, 15 years left of life, then, based on your longevity in your family, you should definitely probably want to consider continue getting mammographies and mammograms every 1 to 2 years. So, all right, so how is breast cancer treated once you're diagnosed? So, there are 5 main treatments. The main one, obviously, is surgery, where the surgeon will actually just cut out the cancer. And that can entail just doing a lumpectomy or a mastectomy, where they just cut out the breast altogether. And that's usually primary, and there's usually other treatment plans that go along with surgery. And the next 4 treatment plans are as follows. And the first one is chemotherapy. So chemotherapy is just medication that's given to you either orally or IV that will just kill the cancer cells. And again, that's usually in conjunction with surgery. The next one is hormonal therapy, and that is the medicine that actually prevents the cancer cells from getting the hormones that they need to grow. So they don't get that, they die, and it prevents the cancer from spreading. And then there's the biological therapy, and that actually prevents or actually helps the immune system recognize and kill the cancer cells, as well as help the side effects of the other treatment modalities, like the lowering of the blood count and the lowering of the white cells count, so you get anemic and you get white cell count, so your immunity goes, so you can get these things to help that. And then there's the radiation. That's one more. So radiation, and that's just X-ray that kill the cells, and they, again, is in treatment with the other ones, and so people are familiar with that. So you have the radiologists that'll help with that. So those are the treatment plans, and so that just leads us to the last section, that is on what's on the horizon, the upcoming treatments that are in clinical trials that are very promising. And so there are 2 of them that I thought I'd mention. The first one is a hormonal treatment plan, which is one in which is an android blockage, and that one basically prevents the cells from getting the android, and it'll kill the cells. And that's very similar to one that you probably already heard of, and that's Keytruda, which is used to treat advanced breast cancer, and you've seen TV commercials with that in this movie. And then the last one is a hormonal one that's basically, again, that allows the immune system to detect the cancer cells, and then they're able to rev up the immune system to kill the cells and prevent the cancer cells from growing and actually, kill them and prevent them from growing. And that's really exciting because the immune system approach is very similar to vaccines. And as we know, vaccines, work by revving up your immune system and allowing you to not get sick when you get a disease like COVID. So your immune system, you get the vaccine and you get exposed to COVID, and then you don't get sick. So what that tells us is that this is an opportunity for us to even find a cure for cancer, because if we can find an immune therapy like we have here in the last study, we can actually find that cure to cancer. So that is why that last study that we have coming is so promising. So I'm just going to thank Pastor Anderson for the opportunity to share my knowledge about breast cancer, and I just hope everyone will heed to the information I gave and just reduce their risk factors, exercise, keep their weight down, and talk to their primary care physician, get those mammograms, and thank you again.
Thank you, Dr. Trina Prather, for sharing such valuable information for all of us. Not only women, but men can benefit from this as well. If this has been beneficial to you, we invite you to please like it, share it, and even save it for your own personal content, because I'm very certain you heard some information you may have never heard before. And believe it or not, there are other people that are just like you. So let's share this information that we can do our very best to make sure we take care of all of our loved ones, especially all of our ladies. And all of us know how much they mean so much to us. I shared with you before that I shaved my head because my niece was diagnosed with breast cancer, and she found this out while she was nursing her infant child. So we want to make sure we take care of all of our ladies. So let's reach out in love and compassion, and let's do what we should do. God bless you. Heaven smile upon you. Remember, you're exceedingly and abundantly blessed, and we'll see you tomorrow for our virtual worship service here at the Fountain.
To sow a seed to the Fountain of Raleigh Fellowship, visit our newly redesigned website, thefountainofraleigh.org, and select Sow a Seed from the homepage. Also, giving has been made easier with the new Fountain of Raleigh app, available now in the Apple App Store and Google Play Store. Download today, select Giving from the main menu, and then follow the directions to complete your giving through Subsplash.
Thank you so very much for all of your gifts and donations that you've given to the Fountain of Raleigh Fellowship. We thank you for what you've done in the past, what you're currently doing, and what you will do in the future. Your gifts and donations helps us to spread the gospel of Jesus Christ, not only locally, but throughout the world. Thank you again for your gifts, and may God continue to richly bless you. It is here at the Fountain that we believe that we are exceedingly and abundantly blessed, and may you receive those blessings that God has in store for you.